Thank you, Mr. Benning. And good afternoon, everyone. I represent Robusta, which is the association for all the oil and gas companies offshore Romania, and includes our company, Black Sea Oil and Gas, Exxon, Petrom, Romgas, Lukoil, Gas Plus, and Petroventure. So this panel is about energy security. So I'd like to make a very bold statement, which is if you want energy security, you should produce the energy yourself. That's the most secure way to have energy supply. There's some other benefits of producing your energy yourself, clearly, and that is that for gas, for instance, if someone consumes gas in Romania, you would much prefer that the taxes and royalties go to the Romanian government rather than go to a foreign government. And this is also true for employment and investment. It's better that employment and investment is in Romania rather than consume gas and have it come from another country. So looking at the Black Sea and determining to what extent it can provide energy security for Romania, we've heard it today that the Black Sea has potential. There have been discoveries made, but unfortunately to date, in fact for over 30 years now, there's yet to be a commercial discovery announced in the Black Sea. And that's not necessarily uncommon. All around the world, there are discoveries that have been made that will haven't been produced for 10 or 20 years and may never be produced. And the reason for that is basically threefold. There's three reasons why a discovery could be made and never produced. The first is technological difficulties. The technology is so difficult, whether it's the deep sea or the type of reservoir or the amount of facilities that have to be built, that the investment isn't viable. So technology is one. The next is regulatory blockages, and the third is just poor investment grade. So those are the three things that stand in the way of having discovery made available for production. And unfortunately, the story in the Romanian Black Sea is all three are a challenge for the Black Sea. As far as technology is concerned, the reality is in the shallower waters, the reserves just tend to be very small. But there still is a requirement to go over 100 kilometers offshore, drill wells offshore, build platforms offshore, 130, 150 kilometer pipeline, build the facilities onshore, and so that is very difficult. For the deep, everything just gets so much more difficult. The technology that's required is more severe, the costs are more severe, the reserves are bigger, but it's still a challenge. So that's the technology side. As far as regulatory blockages are concerned, this is a real issue in the Black Sea in Romania. And the reality is that there is not a legal basis currently that allows a producer in the Romania offshore to develop a field into the country of Romania. There's not a legal basis to do that. Ironically, there is a legal basis to take a Romanian discovery and develop it into Bulgaria. But I don't think that's the optimal way to develop Romania's resources. And the issue we face with the blockages, the regulatory blockages, isn't a matter of understanding what the issue is or trying to persuade the regulatory authorities. In fact, we've had very good support, particularly from NRMA, Mr. Gall in particular, understanding the issues and trying to unblock it. We have had good support from the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Energy. We had good support actually from the last government that was in power, support on trying to unblock these issues with the current government. Our problem is execution. Although everyone agrees, and it seems like a fairly obvious solution that needs to get worked on, it just never seems to get resolved. And for us as an investor in the Black Sea, if we can't produce, then we can't invest. So that's the regulatory blockages. The third one, the mention that interferes with the ability to develop the Black Sea and create the energy security is the investment grade. And basically what happens here is when we have come to the point that we're ready to actually develop, to build those facilities, we will have to, like every other company, go to the investment committee and explain the entire project, and they will look at all the risks. And one of the risks that really is a red flag that causes big concern with investors is if the fiscal stability isn't there in a country, if the fiscal rules are changing. And it particularly goes bad, it does not go down well, if those rules are changing after the investor has come in, has agreed a certain fiscal regime, has spent a significant amount of money, and then it's threatened that the fiscal regime will change. And it is very significant because it puts all of those developments at material risk. And one of the things, other than just the stability and the principle of the stability, one of the things that I would hope maybe come out of the energy strategy is actually to have a look at the health of the oil and gas industry in Romania. Because I think there's a narrative that this is an industry that's very wealthy, can be taxed harder, and should be taxed harder. But I think that narrative needs to be looked at much more closely, because in Romania, there's a lot of companies that are suffering, and these are Romanian companies. Prospecțiuni, which is the biggest seismic company in Europe, a Romanian company, has gone into receivership. There were two onshore drilling companies have gone into receivership. Conmag, the pipeline construction company, has gone into receivership. AMEC, one of the largest offshore construction companies, has left Romania. Cameron, Weatherford, Schlumberger have had huge layoffs. So this really isn't the time to look at this industry and think that it's really something that could take a deeper burden. So we're very encouraged by the fact that discoveries are being made in the Black Sea. We have the inclination and the ability to move them forward, and we just need the support to be able to ensure that we have stability in place for the fiscal regime, and also to be able to get through some of these unfortunate regulatory blockages that are standing in the way of development. Thank you.